All right, hi everyone. I just want to quickly run through what you need to do in order to get the project going and what the files should look like so that you can just jump right into programming and creating the specs and creating your final exam. Um, Ignore the fact that I have a Zoom call in the background right there. I know it's going to be kind of confusing, but I have office hours technically right now, but I don't anticipate any of my high school kids are going to show up. But that's how it be sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go to documents, and I've created a folder already. Go ahead and do that ahead of time. I called mine final exam test project, and make sure that you're inside of the project itself, inside the directory. So just go ahead and do that ahead of time. First things first, we're gonna set up our backend part of the project using our Express generator, which just creates a template that I explained a couple of videos ago. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. So npx, again, the reason why we run npx versus npm is npx means I don't want to install this template as an executable, essentially like an executable on my computer before I use it. npx will just grab that and then install it and then not have to save it on your computer. So I'm going to use express generator, and I'm going to call it backend. All right, and you can see, as you can see here, there are a couple of different things that we can do. We can change directory using cd, install the dependencies, run the app with npm start, which we've seen before. But for us specifically, the one we care about is install dependencies, because right now, if you notice, created my backend folder, there's no node modules in here. And we might end up having to use them, and we probably will end up having to use them, and yeah. So you just want to install them, make sure that they're there. So I'm just going to cd into my backend folder, and I'm just going to run npm install. Ignore these warnings. These are about the template. And you probably wouldn't be using this template if you were like a full stack developer, but for our purposes, it makes everything a little bit easier. All right, so if we look back, we can see node modules are there with all the different things that we can end up using. So it's just good to have it. All right, so now I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to, now in my general final exam test project folder, I'm going to create my React app, and I'm going to make it separate from the backend. So I'm going to do npx, we've done before, create -react-app, and I'm going to call it front end. I'm going to pause the video because I know this will take a minute. So when it's over, we'll move on. All right. So we're all set, good to go. Gives you the instructions for running it, and just to verify, and I know that this is gonna be true, but just to verify, we want to make sure that node modules are there as well. So using with our create React app, it automatically installs it there, and you can actually see that. It says installing dependencies somewhere. Whatever, it says it up there somewhere. But anyway, we're good to go with our front end and our back end now. The last thing that I want to recommend that you do is going back to, oops, this is not for you all. Okay, going back to our slides here from our class. If you want to have both of these front end and back end running at the same time, which I highly recommend because it gets really annoying to have to run the back end, run npm start, and then run npm start for the front end using concurrently. Let me close this other one. Just follow these instructions here for how to do it. In our case, let me just show you real quick to use npm init y. Essentially what npm init does, and I want to show you over here, npm init will create a package.json file on there, and you can see else do I want to say about this? So essentially, your package.json is making sure that all of your files are pointing to the correct dependencies and everything that needs to be there is there, and so that things are running a little bit smoother. You can just run npm init if you want, but then it asks you all a million questions to fill in the actual package.json folder or file. What I recommend you do in, again, the general folder, run npm init-y, as you see down here, right here. What this does is it autofills all of the important information, like the name of the project, the version, description, all these different things. And you can just go into the file itself and edit these as I showed in the video. This again is mostly a way of you having, it's kind of like a README in a way, with all these different parts of it, but the scripts are the important parts because it'll point to any sort of other middleware that you have installed on your computer, which again, one of those pieces of middleware that you could have is that concurrently operation. So you can run npm i-s concurrently, -s concurrently. I spelled concurrently correctly. Yeah, I did. Okay, perfect. Now I'm just going to open up code. I'm going to open up package.json. So I opened up the file itself, and again, replace, in the scripts, you want to replace the current script with, that's not really doing anything. You're replacing it with this one right here. And again, you replace this with whatever the folder name is for your backend, where your Express stuff is, and then you're replacing this with whatever your front end stuff. So in our case, it's actually front end and not client. Save this, and now you can use concurrently to start it out. And again, this is just saying when you say npm start, it's going to run this actual operation on your command line, which will do the concurrent running of your backend and your front end using npm start. All right, so that's about it. I think that's everything you need. And again, just to verify, you have everything set up. In my folder, again, I have a package.json and package lock. You're not going to be touching that one. But package.json, you have your node modules, front end and back end, all set up. So you should be good to go. And happy programming. Let me know if you have any more questions.